Hey everyone, welcome to our crypto call. And I just want to start with something very important. Before we talk about everything that we're going to discuss today, I just want to put things into perspective. And, some of the things that I'm going to talk about are quite personal, and I'm kind of struggling with some things, especially with FOMO recent days. And I just wanted to say that, relatively speaking, if you don't know me, I have some experience in crypto already. I've made some money. I've been through a cycle and a half pretty much full time in crypto. Just this year, I'm more than 100% up on my crypto portfolio. I've also doubled my ordinals portfolio in size. So I'm pretty well diversified and I'm in profit. And yet, I'm not feeling very secure about some of the trades or some of the things that I've been doing on the market. And I want to put this out there because probably a lot of people are feeling this, especially if you have a bit less experience. And we're going to discuss through all the motions of how I'm dealing with this, how others can deal with it potentially, and obviously what we see on the markets and what I see as potential from now on, because we had a very interesting monthly close. Let me just show you what I mean here. We're going to start with the 12-month chart. So pretty much this is the yearly chart on Bitcoin. And as you can see, in the beginning of the year, pretty much I was expecting a lot of chop, and I was expecting to see something like here in 2019. So a green month, green year, but with a wick, which means that I was expecting a correction, which, this year pretty much never came, and we just rallied, and currently we're around 140% up on the year. Obviously, we still have a month to go, so anything could happen. But pretty much this year has been driven by one narrative, and that is obviously the Bitcoin spot ETF that everybody is expecting. Now, this is pretty much very close. This is going to happen, or at least we're going to know what's going to happen in the next month and a half to a month, maybe early January. I'm expecting we get an announcement, maybe in December, but probably it will be in early January. And it feels like the market is starting to price this in. And if you remember back in a month ago or 2 months ago, if you go on the monthly, we were buying the last buys of Bitcoin, we were buying around 28K because we got some news there for the fake ETF, and yet, the market rallied. And I was like, okay, maybe this is the last time we will be here, so I better buy more. I had plenty of exposure. I've been buying since 16K pretty much. But then I was like, okay, maybe I need some more exposure here. And you can see on the monthly chart what happened there. Pretty, very bullish close, I would say here. Last month and this month, for the full 3 days that we've been in December, we're already up like 5%. And things are starting to get a little bit excited. I think I did take some profit, and my thinking was that there will be a correction. So I took some profit just before this breakout around 38K, so somewhere around this level. And my thinking was, okay, this is starting to get like a little bit overexcited. And you can see here on the weekly, the number of green weeks that we have. And we're starting to see that the trend was slowing down, but it seemed like this is just a reaccumulation for another leg higher. And it kind of makes sense. That's why I just took around 10% profit on my Bitcoin spot holdings. And I was like, okay, I want to reward myself in a way. As I said, I'm plenty in profit, but I want to leave enough so that if we have another push to the upside, I don't feel left out and I don't feel stupid for taking profit. And pretty much we had a follow through here on this breakout. Very strong price action. This week, we're going to close today, Sunday. We're going to close at around 5.5% in profit for the week, which after so many green weeks is just, very good to see, I would say, the least. And this is definitely driven by the narrative and you can see it clearly on the chart for the ETF. This is like, we're starting to accelerate. And I think the trade of the ETF is pretty much coming to an end, at least short term. I don't know where the top will be. It might be at 40. It might be at 46. We might even get higher. Just zoom out. Sorry, but I'm on a laptop today and kind of slow with the charts. But we can go even for 60. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But you can see that we're getting really, really hot on the market. And I'm not sure if we're going to have a sell the news event if the ETF gets approved. We have to mention that potentially we could get a rejection, and that will probably cause a massive crash. Not many people are talking about this. Not many people believe that this will actually happen, but I think it's a probability that we need to talk about. And my plan, if we get another push to the upside before the announcement, is to clearly take more profit. And I'll see how price reacts around 40K. Probably I'll be a little bit more patient around this level. But if we get into the 45s, 47s, I'll be more than willing to take even bigger chunks of my spot holdings as profit and just wait and see what's going to happen. Because sooner or later, we're going to have a correction. Yes, might be shallower, might be just for a few percentage points, but there will be one. I cannot tell you when, I cannot tell you what's going to happen. But I feel like definitely this price action is not healthy enough for me to take breakout trades here on Bitcoin at around 37K after I've been buying much lower. It's just not my style, and I don't feel confident and comfortable doing this at this stage. So that's my plan if we get bullish news. I've circled this area around this like 32K, which for me is like the no-go zone. So if we go below this area around 30 to 32K, then I'll probably reevaluating the bullish case for Bitcoin at this moment, because we are already quite far from there. As you can see, from the current price, we're around already 20% away. And if we get below 30, I think this will signal that something else happens. This could be obviously the ETF not getting approved or something else happening on the market. There's still, I think, another opportunity that we might get a recession or something crashes on the market, something breaks. I think this is still in the cards. And just honestly, by looking at locally at my markets and in Europe, and some things also on the States are signaling that we might have a slowdown in the economy, and nobody knows what will be the extent of this and if we were at all going to have it. But if this happens, we might see a break of structure for Bitcoin, and that will make me be a lot more conservative and a lot more bearish, I would say. But this is, as you can see, quite far down. Ideally, this would be also a place that I'll be looking for buy. So my initial idea was if we stay around 36, 37, then we, price action does something like this, and we play around. Maybe we have a breakdown. This will be an area that I'll be interested in buying. But as we're getting higher, potentially I don't want to see price getting so far down, because the last 20% correction for Bitcoin was somewhere here. So this was the crash of FTX and everything going to zero. It was a 22% candle with a little bit of wick, let's say 25% candle on the weekly. So I don't want to see that anymore. Or even if I see it, I don't want to see it from this area to going to below 30K. So maybe if we push higher, again, we gotta see where this will line up, because now it's all speculation. We haven't seen really signs of slowdown, but let's say we get to 44K, let's say. And then this area around 35K, where we had some consolidation, I think will be a great area to do business with if we get that kind of a correction. So right now I'm just sit and watch mode. I'm looking into some outs. We're going to discuss them. I've missed some, I sold some. I'm still blaming myself for, but pretty much this is the two cases for Bitcoin. If we keep running, I'll just keep taking profit. If we stop here and we have a correction prior to the ETF announcement, probably I'll be buying, some dips. And then obviously, if we get a rejection or an approval, we got to see how the charts react to this. But I'm leaning more towards this being a sell the news event, just looking at the price action here. Even though an approval will be bullish, I think midterm we could see some recharging of the markets, I would say, and then potentially we go up quite a bit more. Of course, I could be completely wrong. We could just moon from here, go to 60, 70K maybe. Who knows how things will play out on the markets, but I'm just really prepared. I'm currently feeling comfortable with my exposure, with the profit taking and everything. I feel okay. I don't feel like I'm underexposed or overexposed. In another markets news, you can see here Ethereum, it's starting to get interesting. It's starting to definitely feel like we're gonna have, potentially another leg higher. It consolidated. Weirdly enough, we had this around, I thought that the major level of support resistance will be around 2K, but it turns out that we had more reactions around 2100. So that's kind of interesting for me, that although we had just one reaction price, we respected it a little bit more. Now we have a clear breakout here too. Still catching up. Ethereum is still down compared to Bitcoin on the year, but as you can see, potentially this could be gaining up speed. And actually, my few accumulation plays that I had were a lot also based on Ethereum doing well. And Ethereum hasn't been doing well, and thus my backs haven't been doing quite well. For example, GMX, as you can see, doesn't look too pretty right now. And I'm still down a bit on my accumulations simply because this is a L2 narrative play. So this is the biggest pair DEX on Arbitrum, which is the biggest layer 2. And my game was like, okay, this is a leverage play on Arbitrum. Still, Arbitrum is underperforming. You can see it here on the weekly, pretty much just chopping around, consolidating. Maybe at some point these will run, but for now, this one, Magic is also an Arbitrum token. Although it's in gaming, you can see it's still underperforming the market and the rest of gaming that has been pumping like crazy. And STG is another one of my major positions here that I have as accumulating. And it's just been chopping around. This one's doing all right. This is more like a layer 0 play. What you can see here, it's been just accumulating. Probably all of these will have their share and they will probably pump at some point, but these haven't been pumping on the markets. It just hasn't happened pretty much. And we've been seeing a lot of other tokens pumping like crazy, like for example, Caspa, community's favorite. And I'm still waiting for this retrace to get into Caspa because the fundamentals were very good when I looked at them, but I had some concerns about the transaction speed and the people using this network. But just when I posted the video about this, the community reacted so strongly. And in general, I've seen everybody that I respect talking about Caspa. So yeah, I definitely need to get into a position, but maybe I'll be a bit more patient, or maybe I'll take a breakout here. We'll see. But I'm definitely feeling FOMO about this one. I feel like I've missed it because I was looking also right here around 5 cents and I didn't take the breakout. And my same thought process that happened with this, I was doing with Bigtime. And Bigtime, that you can see here my buys and sells. I had a thesis on Bigtime and it started playing out, but very late. So when I took profit on Bitcoin, I also closed out my Bigtime around 30% gain. So it's not like I lost money, but from my entry, you can see here, this thing just blasted in a week, and it was that way, almost 200% from my entries. So yeah, I'm definitely beating myself up for this one, although I'm in profit. I closed in profit because except for the thing that this was lagging the entire gaming space and it was not pumping like the other tokens, you can see here that this is also forming perfect accumulation that, I was stubborn to stuck with my plan, which generally long-term probably is good. But you can see here that it's, in this case, it's causing me to feel a bit FOMO. And there's a lot of tokens like this. For example, Tau is another one. This is a game, AI token, which is really difficult to understand. But you can see here, again, a rip from this level. I heard about this pretty late, but here it's already like 300% up. This is one that I'm interested in. And even on the daily, I was looking at this breakout, but I was like, I couldn't pull the trigger on this one just because I'm still having the more defensive, I would say, approach to altcoins. And this has served me well through the entire year, as I said. But now it feels like things are starting to shift. And it feels like, although, as I said, I've made good money this year. I feel like I haven't been doing the best moves the past few weeks. Part of this is because I've been so involved into the JPEGs on the ordinal side that I haven't had much time to stare at charts all day long and just make decisions and take trades based on the technicals. But part of it is because, you know, I've been a lot more defensive. And my original plan still stands. And although I have a plan in my head and I'm thinking, okay, we'll get a correction sooner or later, and then I still have cash to deploy, so I'm not 100% in crypto. And I'm starting to build my short list of what I want to be into. TIA is another example. Celestia, also really, really powerful start of this token. Again, a breakout, very clean technical breakout. I didn't take it for the same reason. But I'm starting to narrow down the tokens that I will be looking into and that I'm willing to buy on a dip. And there are quite a few of them. Probably I wouldn't be able to keep them in the number of 10, which is a manageable position size for across the portfolio. But yeah, I'll be looking into some, and obviously, guys, I will be letting you know what I'm buying, what I'm selling. My little shitcoin backs are doing also quite okay. I started buying a few. I told you this, I think, a few weeks ago. So they're also doing well. Track is doing well as one of my major positions. I'm deep into profit. I'm pretty much 10x on this one, and I'm still holding the majority of my position just because this is still at an $80 million market cap. So this is the best trade for the year for me by far. But yeah, I still feel regrets on a lot of those tokens. A few of them I already showed you, and there's a bunch more, obviously, in the making, and things that I'm still, you know, not confident that I've done the right decisions. But this is the trader's game, you know. Although you have a plan, although you're thinking, yes, this and this will happen, or you will do this and this in this way, and you stick to it, there will be moments where the markets will test you and you'll get these type of FOMOs and you just have to deal with them. I personally deal with them with talking with other people, fellow traders, with journaling a lot, just thinking about it and going back to my plans. Like, okay, this is what you decided. This is why you decided. So, you know, just fucking stick to it. So yeah, these are my thoughts, and like this is the short analysis on the market. I see there's a bunch of questions, so I prefer going through questions, and probably we'll look at some more outs. Let me just scroll back. I'll go through this. I saw a question about XRP. Let me see if this was the first one. Can you explain ordinals? Well, that will be probably a separate video. I already posted a video on my channel about this, so go look into it. They're great explanations, but basically these are, it could be a JPEG, it could be a file, text file, it could be all kinds of stuff that is inscribed into a single Satoshi on the Bitcoin network through the ordinals protocol. That's why they're called ordinals. That's the name of the protocol. Okay, I'm thinking to take some money from BTC then finally break even on and putting them into ETH. Thoughts? Well, the first thing you need to do is look at ETH BTC. And just, if you're planning to do this, just find a technical setup on this chart. Go on the weekly. This has been on a downtrend. My base case is that this has been the bottom, as you can see here. I've marked it out, and it seems like this thing is bouncing. But if it doesn't, and because we have the narrative of the ETF for Bitcoin, are you willing to risk 10%? Because probably both will increase in price, but probably it could be the case that Bitcoin outperforms. I don't think you'll do a wrong move here if you decide to stick with Bitcoin or with Ethereum, move them to Ethereum. I think long term, you know, you have to think about long term what you're gonna do with it. If you're gonna be holding them, I don't think you have a wrong move here, honestly speaking. But yeah, just look at this chart and pretty much take a technical trade if you decide to do this, and be okay with the risks. You know, if you see Bitcoin outperforming, are you going to be beating up yourself? So maybe you move some of it, you know, you do dollar cost average into this. There are many different ways. Just write down your plan and execute based on triggers. What do you think will happen with crypto if we have a recession? I think we covered this. Okay. Let me just scroll. Thoughts on XRP. So let's look at XRP. Generally speaking, XRP has been doing all right. You know, they have